Hi everyone, welcome back to TSCC Radio Broadcast. Today is our final episode on our career interview and second part with Joanne.
Yep, hello everyone.
Our teacher and educator in TSCC. Okay, so today we are actually continuing on your experience especially in the secondary school. But before that, last week we had some questions. So I saw one question that was quite interesting.
Okay.
So just wanted to ask you first.
Okay.
So the question is that today, that there's a lot of, teachers come in different batches, right? You have the long-term service award teachers, like maybe 70, 80 years old, then got the fresh teachers coming in.
Yeah.
So how do all these teachers, right, continue to stay relevant in the teaching space? Like, are they, do they have a standardized way to teach? Or, sometimes the old teachers, they may be a bit stubborn in their old ways, then they don't really change. Or what's your thoughts on this?
Actually, I do understand that some experience, I don't call them old teacher, but they are very experienced teacher. They definitely have very good foundation in terms of their knowledge. What kind of strategies to teach in terms of, if a student make a particular mistake, what is the common mistake they usually make. So they are very knowledgeable in terms of the theory part as well. Yeah, but every year, teacher can actually go for courses to upgrade themselves. So a teacher definitely need to have a growth mindset that the education system is always changing. And I think the most relevant example is the recent, because of the COVID situation, we have to do home-based learning. And it's definitely a challenge for all teachers because we have been so used to just teaching face-to-face. And now, in just a span of maybe just 2 weeks or 3 weeks, suddenly we have to teach online. So we were all scrambling, trying to figure out how do we exactly use the Zoom function, or how does the chat work, and how do we interact with our students online. So I feel that it won't be long before that they have to do something. They cannot be stubborn all the way because they will realize that they definitely need to stay relevant to capture and engage the students' attention. So every year, teacher can go for courses. So if they see that, remember last time I said that there's an Academy of Singapore Teachers, right? So we can go for workshop, and then you see which workshop you think that you're interested in. So every year, we will try to go for maybe 2-3 workshops so that at least we can upgrade ourselves. And when we come back to schools, we can also share with our own department of teachers.
But so in the end, it's still up to their choice, whether they want to go or not. It's not mandatory, right?
Yeah, it's not mandatory, but of course it will be definitely beneficial for you, for us as a teacher.
Yeah, I'm sure that if the teachers, they will probably have the mindset of, learning themselves, not how they teach, right?
Yeah, definitely. Because if we don't stay relevant, then each time when there's something new being introduced, like now students have their own, they actually have their own personal device. So you see that students use iPad or they use their own Chrome notebook, right? All this is given to them by the government, or they can opt in, basically, or opt out for this personal device that they have. But if teachers don't make use of it, then actually they will be behind times already. So yeah, it's definitely something that every teacher need to think about. How can we improve ourselves every time?
Okay, yeah. So basically, I think it's the environment that actually forces the teacher to improve and upgrade.
Yes.
Okay. So then now we will go deeper into your personal experience in teaching. So you have been doing secondary school, right, for 6 years already?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you want to share a bit of your teaching experience with the secondary school kids so far?
Actually, I think the last time I thought about, I only thought about teaching math, right? Actually, when I apply for the teaching scholarship, then when they give us and tell us that, okay, you are being chosen, every teacher actually have 2 teaching subjects. So that means I can teach mathematics and something else, and for myself, it's chemistry. So during my university days, I actually have to take at least 4 to 5 modules of chemistry. Yeah. So when I first enter into secondary school, during my practicum, which is the time when they assess me, I have to teach science. So I teach lower sec science. So that was a time where I taught science, and based on school needs, they will see whether, okay, do you need to continue be in the science department? So some teachers, they do straddle between departments and teach 2 subjects. So for myself, my school actually need math teacher. So in the end, I only teach math. Yeah, so that is good for me, because that is my, that's
you got
my
like
interest.
E-math and A-math, so there's still considered 2 subjects, right? Is that?
Yeah, actually it's considered 2 subjects in secondary school. Yeah, then, so that was my beginning of my journey. And then after that, every teacher will be assigned a CCA, and we are also assigned 1 committee work. So let me talk about CCA first. So CCA is definitely compulsory. So as long as you are a full-time teacher, you have to take on 1 CCA. And for myself, it's MPCC. So what's good is that...
Is it because they know that you used to be in uniform group, that's why they put you as MPCC?
Yeah, so I think what they did was they tried to align what I did in the past. I actually wanted to try something new, not uniform group, but it's also based on school needs. They really need a teacher there, so they will just assign you to anywhere. And I would think that it's good in the end, because I get to do something that I definitely won't do if I'm just a normal citizen. Why? Because I get to shoot a .22 revolver. So this is actually, I think,
You mean they let you shoot only, or they let all the students shoot also?
They let the student shoot also. They let the teacher try. So basically it's a teacher course. So the teacher have to go through what the cadet will do. So MPCC, they specialize in more of crime prevention, police laws, right? So we also get to attend lectures lah. And then we went to Home Team Academy, very far in
CCK, right?
Yeah, in Choa Chu Kang, super far. And we go there for 2 weeks of training. And then this is where we actually learn. So, I would never imagine that as a teacher, I also get to shoot. Yeah, so it's a definitely new experience for me. And eventually, we do have like this so-called graduation ceremony as well, which in the end, my mom attend with me as well. So I would say that as a teacher, it's not about just teaching. It's about developing your student outside of teaching. That means it can be their social emotional competency, like teaching them how to develop their life skills. Yeah, so that is for CCA. The next one, the one I mentioned, is committee, right? So actually a teacher has multiple roles. We are like the part-time school counselor, we are the teacher in class, we also talk to parents, right? And we also want to develop our students further, and I'm in this education and career guidance committee. So basically, my work is to ensure that we allow the students to have platform to learn about the maybe different career path that they can go, or education pathway, because they have JC, Poly, ITE.
So how many people is in this committee, or are you like doing it alone?
I'm not doing it alone. It's about a group of 5 teachers. So I guess it depends on the size of the school. Because, if there is more students, you definitely need more teachers to plan events. So I plan education fairs. So I invite JCs, Poly to come in, and we have a fair in school. That is pre-COVID times lah. Yeah. Then I also plan for work experience program, which is similar to Poly internship or uni internship. Yeah, it's similar, just that our students will not have such a full, I think it's 3 months, right, in Poly.
Yeah, it's about 3 months.
Yeah, about there. But for our students, they don't have that kind of caliber and knowledge to take on such a long internship. So it's only a very short, maybe 1 week, 1.5 weeks. It's just to observe and see what the corporate life is like. So for myself, I learned a lot also, because my first career is teaching. So I wouldn't know what is happening outside too. So I think this allows me to, know more about like what is networking like. And so I get to also communicate with the CEO of a company. And I think it's interesting because I'm not only bounded to just teaching in the classroom.
Okay, so that's interesting because besides academics, you actually have a lot of your own extracurricular activities that you have to plan, right?
Yeah.
So, so what are some of the challenges that you have faced, right, in the last 6 years? Maybe in terms of teaching, or maybe in your CCA or other aspects.
I think definitely have to be my CCA, because we have to go through teacher course, and in teacher course we have to go through what the students will go through. So so this is a picture of me standing. I forgot how high this pole is, but basically it's a high element. And you know me, I have a fear of heights, right?
Yeah, I've never seen you stand so high before.
Yeah, and this definitely more than, I don't know, 7 meters, maybe around there. I'm not too sure, but basically this pole is called the leap of faith. Literally, you have to jump, take that leap, and then catch on to the bar that you see over there. So what they are trying to do is for us to go through what the students feel, so that at that point of time, when we are with them as they go through the camp, we can also, let them know that we have stand in their shoes before and encourage them to go on this camp. Yeah, so that is one.
Nowadays, very good already, right? The teachers will actually lead by example. Last time, the teachers, actually, what I remember, my CCA teacher is just stand at the side there and take attendance.
Correct, yeah, that's what they usually do. But then, it would be nice if I can build rapport with the student by doing it with them, right? So I also go for kayaking, this 1-star certification course, and I'm a non-swimmer, so it's like I also cannot show my weakness in front of my student. So I like, you all go for this course. Okay, I go with you all. I will do it together with you all. So in 1-star, you have to capsize. You have to turn the boat, turn the kayak over, and then you have to do everything. And I have to act tough in front of them, correct? If not, they will think like, wow, this teacher, why so scared? And I was the only teacher who brought them that time. But I think it's good because it's a challenge to me and I can overcome it. So I think it definitely helped me grow as a person also.
Yeah, I think you're not exactly acting anymore. Acting is for people who pretend but they didn't actually do it. But you actually went through the whole thing. So not exactly acting. I would say that you decide to just get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, actually I'm quite proud of myself. When I finished everything, my body was aching all over. But yeah, I think it's something good because I at least, willing to overcome whatever my fears are. So yeah, so that is one challenge that I have. The other challenge is maybe I can talk about in classroom. In classroom, there are special needs students. So nowadays there is a rise in special needs students, or mainly because there is more awareness about special needs. So maybe.
So what are some of special needs you're referring to?
It can be students with autism, or maybe they are ADHD students. So there is attention deficit hyperactive students. So these are the students which require more help because there are students who will just move around in class, or they may just blurt out things in class at inappropriate times. So it was challenging for me at the start of my career because I have no idea how to control them. When we talk about classroom management, you manage 40 students, but sometimes that one student can, because he's special needs, right? It can be one student equals to 10 students. It's like handling 10 students because it's just too hyperactive, just cannot sit down. So just now I mentioned about going for courses. Yeah, so for myself, I have been going course in NIE every year. Then after I finish about 3 years of courses, I will eventually have a certification. I think, like I said, it's important to stay relevant and upgrade ourselves. If not, we will never ever be able to know what are the strategies that we can use to deal with this kind of situation.
Actually, nowadays, for these special needs students, right, just curious, do the school actually place them evenly to the different classes, or is it completely random in terms of like which students go to which class? As
much as possible, we'll try to space them, spread them out across the level lah. Because if one class have so many, it's also quite hard for the teachers to handle. And we do have actually what we call allied educator, which is if let's say this class has a very serious case, then this allied educator, right, will just come in during the lesson, have observations, make observations first, and then they have one-to-one session with the student outside of the classroom to teach them techniques on what they can do, what structures and routines to be in place, so that we can focus on just teaching. Then the allied educator can help help them based on their learning needs.
It's a bit like ad hoc specialists, like a bit like what Hu Jing was saying last time about the allied healthcare thing. Yeah, so I think it's a similar kind. Yeah, but it's good to see that schools actually have a lot of preparations to meet different kind of students, so at least everyone can still learn and study properly.
Yes, and for myself, at least I can focus on the teaching aspect, and I do not have to always, in the middle of lesson, I have to bring this student out and then talk to the student one side. Yeah.
Okay, so coming to all these special needs students, right? I'm sure that besides special needs students, there are also maybe other maybe problematic students or maybe students who are not that interested, And then I'm sure the school has a certain disciplinary approach, which today I think one of the hot topics is how do you manage this disciplinary approach between the students and their parents? Because parents nowadays, they want to be very involved in the school, right?
Yes. Okay, I think first thing first, whenever I want to engage with parents, right, I, of course, definitely, I need to know the child well enough so that when I talk to the parents, I can give them my observations and also my advice on how we can help their child. So I think most importantly is why parents, maybe they want to know what they can do, or maybe they are unhappy or happy with certain things, all because they want the best for their child. So for myself, before I call a parent, I will talk to the students first, allow the students to have space to reflect, so that whatever I tell the parents doesn't just come from myself, but hey, your child actually say this. And I think then they will be more willing to listen, like, oh, it is my child that is feeling this way, and my child is the one who suggested that this is better for himself or herself. Of course, I will guide the child. I mean, I will ask some questions. Maybe what is best for you? Is punishment the best for you, like staying back after school? Or is it doing more homework is best for you? Give options so that the child can choose. And then I think this will convince the parent that the teachers are actually helping my child. So there is no need to, go head to head with teachers about the disciplinary, because after all, we want the best for the child.
I think this kind is, I would consider it a best case scenario, because everyone seems to have a good communication, right?
Yeah, of course.
But in the events where, sometimes maybe there are certain conflicts between the parent and child, which, sometimes parents is like, hey, I know better, this is the way to do it. And then the child say that this is not the way to do it. Like, for me, this is better. So as a teacher, right, like from what you say, you understand from the child perspective, and then you talk to the parents. But sometimes the parents know that this is the child perspective, but then they feel that certain ways of doing is still more correct than what the child is thinking. So as a teacher, right, how would you balance between, like, whether it's the parent side or the student side kind of thing?
I think it's good to have a balanced view from the parent side and from the child side first. And then from there, because usually, currently we do a lot of more calling. We do have parent-teacher meeting.
So last time the teacher said, I go call your parents, then we all keep quiet already.
Yeah,
I guess it's a new communication tool.
Yeah, I think nowadays the parent would love to hear updates from teacher because they just want to know what their child is doing. And I think it's really a case-by-case basis. Sometimes it's really very hard to tell. And if, for example, if I really don't know how to handle, it can escalate until the parent is completely not able to communicate with the child. Then we can always ask what we have is what we call the year head. So the year head is in charge of the entire, like for example, whole of the Sec 1, where she will be the one who speak to the parents instead. And we will also sit in and speak together. Because I think parents feel assured that okay, it's not just the teacher talking to them now. We have someone of a more senior level as well. And I think when everyone come together to actually discuss what strategies is the best, sometimes I think the parent is just very helpless what they can do. That's why maybe they feel very agitated at certain moments. But I think after talking out, actually most parents that I encounter, they are quite supportive actually.
So I guess that, I mean, it's very difficult to manage because whatever you're saying, right, so much effort is just for one student, and you yourself have 40 students.
Correct. So I have to know each and every of them so well. And you know, every time when we come back every term, we will actually speak to every single student just to check in how they are. So yeah, I mean, why I put educator, because we do not only just teach the subject, but we also have to be very, I would say, take care of the student in terms of whatever they have been going through as well.
Holistic teaching, in a sense,
holistic
right?
development,
Okay, so I think previously you also shared that nowadays, you know, like there's always new and updated teaching techniques. Sometimes it's a bit different from what we used to learn from our own teachers back then, right?
Yes.
So what are some examples of these teaching techniques that you help students to learn, you know, sometimes complex and seemingly not interesting math topics?
Yeah,
right?
that's true. Yeah, so now we are going on to maybe the more mathematical side. That means in math, how do I really teach? So there is many models we can use. And I think what we are very used to, and maybe in our generation, is that
this is the behind the scenes of the teaching model.
Correct. So what we call this is the gradual release model, where what we do is, okay, I go in, I tell you today, I will teach you this. And then I will do it on a whiteboard. And then now, okay, we do together. And then after that, I give you practice. So this is definitely something that all of us students, we have been through, right?
Yeah.
But of course, if I do this all the time, it's quite boring because there's really no critical thinking. It's just I watch the teacher do, then I regurgitate whatever that has been done. So there are many approaches to what we can do. So you will see the next picture, right? What we have is there are a lot of ways that we can actually guide the student. So I won't touch on everything, but for math, right, because sometimes it can be so abstract that they just can't see what is algebra about. So actually, I think right at the bottom, you will see this CRA model.
Yeah.
So what is C is concrete. So we will give them manipulatives like something that can hold, okay, something that they can move around with, so they see something concrete. Then after that, we will do it on paper. R is called representation. So we will draw some things. And abstract is finally when you come to the mathematical language. So we will move step by step so that at least it's being scaffolded and they are more, I mean, they can understand easily rather than, okay, I give you this formula. Memorize the formula, apply the formula.
Then
they
never
like,
worked for me.
Yeah, they were like, sure, what is this about? I don't understand
that
what
method
you're
gave me
talking.
F9 for 2 years.
Yeah, it's like, okay, why people always have that? It's because they just don't understand and they just like memorize, but if they memorize wrongly, then they don't know how to apply. Yeah, so I can give one example. So actually, I like to challenge my student or like to spark curiosity in my student before I start a topic, for example. So this was actually one of the so-called magic trick that is not really magic, it's actually maths trick. That I go into class and tell them, okay, today I will give you a trick, and by the end of maybe 2 weeks later, when you finish learning algebra, you will know how to solve this trick. Yeah, so for example, this trick, right? Okay, I know it sounds a bit difficult because it says what is positive integer, but basically I'm asking you to think of a number greater than 20, like 21, 22, 23.
Yeah.
So maybe let's try this out. So then, I mean, whoever that's online now, if you are listening to this, okay, you can
She's going to read your mind.
Yeah, I'm going to read your mind because I'm going to know what is your final number. Okay, so maybe let's do this together, me and you together. Then the online
So
audience.
basically, right, we don't have any access. I mean, personally now, currently, we don't have any access to the comment section. So you can quickly run through this exercise and your final answer, right, you can just put in the comments. Then we'll see whether Joanne gets it right.
Yeah, I hope everyone calculate it right as well. Then we should all get the same thing by the end. Okay, so let's say I choose a number.
I'll be your audience, so I'll be I give you 25.
Okay, 25. Right. And then you have to add these 2 digits, which is 2 7. And 5. So you get 7. So what I want you to do is, now you have the initial number, which is 25.
Yeah.
And you also have this new number, which is 7.
Okay.
I want you to 25 minus away 7.
Okay, 18.
Okay, so you get 18, right?
Yeah.
So this new number that you have, which is 18, you're going to add up these 2 digits, which is 1 plus 8.
9.
9. Yeah. So, whoever is listening now, you should also get 9. And we are all...
Alright, supposed to guess, not supposed to read it out.
Yeah. Everyone should be getting 9.
The same number?
I hope everyone is getting the same number.
If they didn't get the same number, then they need to go for tuition.
You can use calculator if you need to. Okay, but the idea is this can actually be solved using algebra. And I'm not sure if you remember when you learn multiples of 9, you can actually use your finger. This is a trick that the teacher teaches you. Up to 10, until like 9 times 9 you can still use.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further than that, then cannot already, ma. Yeah. So actually, is you realize that every time the 2 digits of the number when they add up is always 9. So it's just a very special property of this number, and math is just about finding patterns. And hence, this actually excites students because then they will think, wow, so you're so good at you know what's my number. Then everyone, they will give this eureka moment. Yeah, and then they will be very interested to start trying to prove why is it always 9. Yeah, and I do have students who is so interested in math, they will just go back home and then try on their own, and then come back to me and say, is this why it's 9? Yeah, I think so. This is what makes teaching fun, because you see that your students are so interested in learning.
Yeah, so I think math is really something that you need to ignite some curiosity and also give them a sense of accomplishment. When they get it right, they feel very happy, they want to do more. See, it's like a drug.
Yes. So, yeah, the sense of accomplishment is I think what is most important. And sometimes it's not really about just learning math and memorizing. So the next model that you'll see in the next picture, right? But this is a thinking routine. What I mean is that when I want to have class discussion, I will ask them these 3 questions. So maybe I can give them something. Then I ask them, okay, what do you see in this picture? What do you think about this picture? And do you have any question you want to ask? What do you wonder about? So maybe I just give a very quick example how I use this thinking routine. Okay, so maybe you can be my student, then I'll ask you the question.
Okay.
Then you tell me what you see, what you think I wonder.
Okay, can.
Okay. So I'll give you 3 receipts to look at. So there's this, I think, strong flour. Actually, I'm not too sure what is it. All these receipts I found on Google. Then we have this pepper lunch receipt. What? My eyesight not very good. I don't know what's the last one, but I think it's a restaurant maybe. Okay, yeah. So what do you see in all these receipts?
Of course, all of them probably have some kind of percentages involved, right? Because there's a GST, there is a service charge, and
yes, exactly. So, do you know what is GST?
Goods and service.
Yeah, goods and service tax, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we will do the what do you see part. So they can see there's percentages, there's GST, there's also service charge. But some places also do not have service charge. Some places they also find out that they don't charge GST also. So then they will be thinking like, oh, when do we charge GST then? So they will wonder what kind of scenarios then will charge GST. So I would then, okay, so what do you think? When do you think GST is charged?
When?
Okay lah. I think you are an adult, so
I need to be a student.
Yeah, you need to be a student.
I don't know if I need to go home and find out. But do they actually own self go and find out, or you just feed them the answers?
usually I will just give them the answer.
Because anyway, it's math, it's not.
It's a class discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, you go hawker center, you don't need to pay GST. Why? How come you go restaurant need to pay? So I'll tell them, oh, it's because, okay, the business, the business, they have to earn a certain amount. And some students, they actually know. I'm not sure how they know. Maybe their parents are businessmen, so they know. So it is good because it gets them excited. It's not more about formula, but I can also learn about in real life, how does it work. Yeah. So if you see the next receipt after that, then okay, so this one, what is interesting is there's discount. Yeah. So they can always write down any questions that they wonder, that maybe they feel like, oh, when will this discount, how does this discount work? Or maybe they even wonder, is it better to give a discount first, then give the then calculate the GST? So as a consumer, the person who is paying for the product, is it better that discount is given first or at the last?
Which is your trick question.
Yeah, so actually, when I ask most people, they would say that
before.
Giving discount before.
No, after would be better.
Giving discount after better, right? Because
since a bigger amount.
Yeah, because you charge GST, you charge service charge rate, then you give a discount. The discount is actually bigger. But by the end of the day, right, actually what we are paying is all the same. So I get them to calculate out. So that will be the math part, the calculation.
Yeah.
And then you will see on their face again, wow, that eureka moment that they have, like, oh, yes, actually, it is the same.
It's a scam, actually,
it's a scam. Then I will always tell them, okay, you go back and ask your parent today after that. I think they will tell you after the discount, after the last one is the best. So they like this kind of thing because there's this joy of learning.
And sharing, I would say. Sharing to other people because they like to show that they know more.
Yeah, then
others,
can
right?
show that, hey, I know better than you, you know. So this will allow them, like, I would say that be curious in what they are learning, and hence, like, every time they come to math class, it's not about numbers again or algebra, because they know that they're going to learn something relevant. Yeah.
Okay, so in the interest of time, right, because I know that you have really a lot of things to share, and definitely this 20 minutes, 30 minutes is not enough for you. But if let's say there are so many people out there today that they can't really do math because maybe last time they didn't learn well, or what kind of advice do you think you will give them?
I think we should not see mathematics as a subject. Something is about formula only. Math is really about problem solving. In fact, math is about looking at patterns and trying to derive something. So actually, every day we have been using math in our daily life, and sometimes we don't even know that. So I would say that we do not need to isolate math as a subject itself, but rather to really deepen our thinking about, math is actually about your critical thinking skills. And in fact, really, if you go and Google what mathematics is, right, they say mathematics is logical thinking. Yeah, so basically, how do we plan out the steps to solve a problem? So math is really about just giving patterns and then deriving what kind of conclusion we can have, or sometimes some people come up with theorems that we don't even know.
Yeah.
And then,
so I say it's the attitude of math that counts, right? It's more of the desire to problem solve, and so actually it's a lot more than just a very micro perspective of just calculation itself. But so actually that's the trick. If you don't know how to calculate, right, just look at the big picture. Then you'll feel better as long as you're interested to find out the answer.
Yeah, and anyway, nowadays we have all this technology that help us, but of course we are the big minds, the big brains behind all this technology. So I think sometimes it's really about try and error, because people who are engineers or do coding, right, they also have to just really try and error each time and problem solve. Yeah.
Okay, so there you have it. It's not any secret magic trick to solve. I'm sure there are a lot of other tricks. If you want to know, you can ask Joanne in your free time. But the general idea of being the teaching profession or educator is really more of it's not just academics alone. You can see that there's a lot of things that is surrounding the academic environment in terms of even managing stakeholders like parents, students, even external advisors and all the even other businesses and all that. Yeah, so it's very interesting that being a teacher is so much more than just teaching alone.
Yeah.
So I hope that maybe if there are other future aspiring teachers, right? If you want to know more about the teaching lifestyle in detail and what maybe you can talk more with Joanne to find out more about what is the career, so-called the entire journey of what being a teacher is all about.
Yeah, and most likely I think as I when we talk about all this, I think you kind of answer why the difference between a teacher and a teacher in schools as well as a tuition teacher as well. Yeah, so I hope everyone has managed to gain some insights on teaching, and of course, appreciate students. If you are watching this, do appreciate your teachers as well. Yeah.
September, Happy Teachers Day.
Oh yes.
Okay, so we'll see everyone again for next week on our TSCC radio broadcast. Next month we'll be starting on a new topic, which we'll keep it a surprise for now. So see you again next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.